So you're telling me you came prepared?
Yeah, but it's like I should have organized them. I mean, it's a little extensive. Need more bullet pointed. I started with bullet points, and then I just got into deeper and deeper. Really, just honestly, I listened to your StratSide with Cammy, and I was like, oh, dude, I have so much like to add to. Because I feel like it's a very similar, and that's kind of what you put at the end, like a similar topics were discussed. It was great. I like Cammy.
Yeah.
I got a lot of love for Cammy, man.
Kami and I think we came from the same, very similar backgrounds, like the casual. I just stayed, whereas now he's more toward you and more like the paying attention to the little details.
I got a little something
play.
on that. I got a little something on that, which I think gives me a perspective now. Because sometimes I'm very confused by your point sometimes.
My point?
Your stance on a lot of things.
All right.
And your disagreement with a lot of things.
Cool. Hit me with it.
We can get to that. Oh, you just want me to drop it right now?
Yeah.
Oh, let me find this real quick.
Tell you what, we'll hard intro right in. StratSide 20, part 2. Aeflic and I are back at it again. We didn't feel like we settled it come part 1, and we had a lot to say. I really liked hearing Aeflic how we went over all the things we did with the lattice, the hot takes, old versus new, some of the pseudo balancing, especially when we start getting to like the nanites as the equipment where Kami he was in favor of that too. But so let's go ahead and hit it. Same agenda. We speak for ourselves.
Do it.
Intros, we're not going to do that again. Check out part 1. Same intro. Scope of the talk, same thing. Still same scope. Check out part 1. And then discussion from part 1. Here's all the things we talked about. We did our hot takes on Outfit Wars, the optimal PlanetSide. We did State of the Game, old versus new, went into base design, started talking about combined arms, whether it was fairy tale, whether it was achievable. Had to hit the anchor play. Still had the #1 anchor killer in the game right in here talking. Talked about lattice construction, limiting force multipliers. My boy Aeflic here talking about the max. Kami's got something to say about the max. A to G, revamping it to a 1v1 or not. And then using kind of like an ad hoc outfit battles. And that's kind of where he put me on blast and whether or not we thought that was a good idea. So now we're going to hit some things have changed since it was StratSide 14. Man, that was 8 StratSides ago. That's crazy that we done.
You can bust them out, man. You got
I know. It has been some good talks.
Wide range of people too. There's a lot more people than I thought there'd be.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you're doing so many. I'm like, dude, you're gonna run out of people to like hit up. But then you can always bring people back. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's still a lot more that I want to get on. But we had Amy, SKL come on, Pale Tiger. That was an awesome conversation.
That's part of I think that's your most viewed video.
I think my most viewed is Lex right now, but
recently. But maybe it's not. You might be right about Lex. I think when I was going through them because I was curious, it's like, I saw Lex on there, but then I didn't see the views because I knew it was further back. I only went so far back because I was busy at work. But
yeah,
recently at least. Yeah,
Pale was my most surprising one because I did not expect it to go so reasonable. Like
yeah.
That's what you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I'm like, maybe he's doing that. Maybe that's really him, but also I could just see he's the type of person that gets worked up, and then he's also streaming. So it's like we're getting his candid moments, his hot takes, right? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And then
I feel like most people that are from Zergfits or when are probably reasonable people. Most of us came from Zergfits. It's just like, obviously we don't have the same opinion on a lot of things, and I don't really know too much about them. But I mean, like I said, most people are normal. There's a couple crazies out there for sure.
I didn't know much about him at all. That had been the first time we had talked, like in our whole life. That we had talked like right before that, just to kind of like what we do or we set up. But other than that, man, I had no conversation with him until that point. But after that, a recursion, he directed me to Cat's Meow, who's a recursion player, her and Transgressor, and Fraish, in a video that Cat's Meow put together, and apparently they came to the same conclusion. And I did a reaction video to that right after, where Transgressor was like, "Hey, it's disappointing, man. I thought you were gonna be an asshole, Pale, but it wasn't like that." So interesting.
Yeah, so that's usually how it goes. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I have people like you, man. I want to keep on talking, and just there's so much we can explore. But since we've talked since October 27th, I call it 9 community things have happened, and it came out in like rapid succession. That wasn't long before I did my community manager simplified. And if you look at it from a certain light, it can sound critical of the current dev team. Wasn't meant to be like that, but not long after that, this all comes out, and I gotta say, credit where credit's due, man. Mithril, the Rail, the dev team, these spotlights, these interviews, the Empire Showdown, doing the unofficial world record and getting it like that. I have my doubts. I was trying to put my full weight behind it.
I had my doubts. Yeah, everyone's like, dude, why are you giving us no notice?
Right, no notice thing.
World record. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, dude, I feel like since the world record, they lowered the pop count. Like, I was like, is it like? I mean, obviously they're gonna up it or whatever, but I was very, very skeptical. So I'm glad to see that they're actually able to break it.
It worked. And then we've got all this stuff that's coming out. Amazon Prime Gaming. Finally, you get Twitch drops. There's now a Twitch drop.
I saw that. I did see that. Yeah, after I've retired.
It's a good start. Hey, man, it's a good start. About time. And then Radlock came back for our 10th anniversary YouTube VOD. I haven't heard his voice in a while. And then the big thing.
I watched that. I hadn't seen it yet. I watched it. I obviously love his voice, and he had some really good speeches from Server Smash and just Outfit Ops in general. So
yeah,
always a pleasure to. I don't know if he still plays. I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
Nice to have him.
I haven't seen him around in a while, unless he's playing an alt. And then the big wig, probably something we'll definitely get into at length, is the 10-year anniversary patch, which I am a big fan of.
Good.
Big fan. It came with some big changes too. So let's go about Community Spotlight. SKL did a charity event with Kami did as well. SKL ended up breaking $7,000 raised the 3rd year in a row. That was a pretty big one. And that was right after.
I was reading that. I was like, damn, 7,000?
Yeah. Didn't Shock do that one too? He raised like 10 grand for it, I thought.
I think Shock raised 10.
Yeah.
And that had a lot of hype, and that was like a 1v1 turn. I mean, that was like a very unique thing. I don't know what the SKL. I mean, it's like, I guess, were they just like streaming ops, or like what exactly were they doing? 24-hour stream? Like, what was the?
Yeah, they were doing all sorts of stuff year to year, but mainly they would. They're a big Emerald VS combined arms outfit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I'm aware.
Oh, you're aware? Okay, gotcha. I'm not, because I don't even play Emerald, so I didn't really know much about them until Orby messaged me. He's like, "Hey, if we break 7,000, can we do StratSide podcast as a reward milestone?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, dude, let's do it." And so we did. They nailed it.
Very nice.
Yep. Very nice. He just messaged me out of the blue.
How many people did you have on? Just one, or?
I had 3 people on. 2 of their senior leaders, and then 1 of their newer trainers. And he was a PS4 convert. So kind of got to hear.
That's a tough crowd, my guy.
Right, exactly. So we got into that a bit. Like, what's that like? Why did you switch over? What do you think of it now? But just got kind of like the whole gamut of one player who's been playing since beta, one player who's been playing not since beta but is very active right now, and then the third one who just converted from PS2 like 3-4 months ago, something like that now.
I'll need to watch that, because I don't think anyone large enough in the community. I'm probably 100% wrong, but I don't think a large content creator really talked about PS4 like that with somebody, and I could be wrong. I need to go back and watch it. YouTube's just annoying because the algorithm is it's like too dialed in right now. Where if I don't like, as soon as I start watching, like I'll watch, I don't know, a music video or something. That's all I get almost. And like even though I'm subscribed to people, if I just go like the homepage, like I get some people that I'm subscribed to, but mostly just random like other stuff, whatever like I'm focused on that week. And so like I don't like I'm like it's annoying because like I just want my subscription stuff to be there too more than I don't know. I feel like
I've been seeing some articles about how the algorithm is just something's going on with it. Like you're getting random videos. I get random videos too. I'm not really sure what's happening with that.
But it's like it's going like too far down. Like whatever like branch, like the Russian Ukraine one. It's like boom. It's like all I get. And if I click on something else, like so it's like it's very like because let me pull it up here on my mobile because I want to say because my issue is I always just do home. I never do subscription only. I'm like, okay, I want to be exposed to other stuff. I'm like, man, I might have to go back to just
So I'll pull something.
And
what does mine say?
I'm like, okay, why haven't I been watching your videos? And I'm like, I realized you've actually had like a decent amount come out recently. I was like, well, maybe he's taking a break or something.
Yeah, well, I've been pushing out VODs like crazy. I've just been on a streak. Lately, I've been on a Colossus streak. So I have about 5 more Colossus videos I haven't even released yet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, more content is good, and then obviously you're putting the work in on it too. It's not you're just dropping random videos. So like, I mean, you got to do quality and quantity, unfortunately, with the algorithm. So good for you.
Yep. So that was StratSide 17 was the one with SKL. So SKL was the community spotlight, and that was also Mithril did I'm assuming it was Mithril, but PlanetSide 2 did a interview like they used to do back with like Luperza days and stuff. Then they started rolling out interviews of the Empire Showdown captains, Kamikaze, Sirius, and Winter Gaming. I watch Winter Gaming fairly often. He streams PlanetSide quite a bit, and he has regularly 300 viewers watching him.
Yeah, 300-400. Yeah.
I saw his last one had 500. It was like 3-4 days ago.
Yeah, I huge StarCraft 2 fan, and I got into StarCraft 2 like late to the game.
Oh, you did? I think it was a Brood War start.
Yeah, so I only did StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty maybe, or yeah, I think, and I only like dabbled in a little bit. I played a lot of like arcade mode, and then I stopped playing. And then like I never had watched competitive RTS before. And I was just like blown away. Like this is crazy. Like actually like watching their screen, like, it's just, like they're like flipping all over the map. It's just like it's almost like hard to watch their screen. Yeah. But I pretty much watch every major tournament.
You do?
I've been doing that for the last. Hold on. I started in insurance in 2015. So since 2015, I watched probably every major tournament, and then I went back and I watched a ton of old tournaments.
What do you like so much about StarCraft?
Commentary to me, I love the commentators. Great group of commentators. And maybe some of the best esport commentators.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I started in RTS and then I came over to FPS. It's the production is just really good on it.
Gotcha.
And I don't know. It's something that I didn't think I was like I don't even know why I was interested in it, and I literally love it. Like I watch more StarCraft 2 tournaments than I watch like sports. Like, I don't even insane.
That's surprising, man. I'm surprised to hear that from you.
I know. I just realized that when I said it. But it's very easy to be at work and like because they just upload the VODs after. Like I can catch it live. And it's in South Korea, so a lot of the time like it starts like 5 a.m. But then I can just you can just because some of the tournaments on YouTube you can just back it up like it's live. I just from the beginning I can
okay.
I can skip the commercial stuff as going until I get back to live or but it's easier to do that. There's too much like, oh, Notre Dame lost or they won, here's a score, or like my dad texts me like before I watch the game or something if I'm it's much easier for me not to get information and so I don't know what's going on with the tournament. I don't know, I just love them. But that's sorry. Wow. Deep good. Rabbit hole there. No, that's how I found Winter Gaming. Is through StarCraft 2. That's where he originated from, at least when I found him. And I didn't really watch much. I just knew that he was kind of like, he's a big like StarCraft 2 content creator. And then he came over to PlanetSide 2. I'm like, what? I would have never guessed it. And then he stayed with it. I thought maybe like he would like dabble in it, like he got invited type of thing, and then he leaves. Then he's just like every like Tuesday, whatever night he streams, like he has been doing it for such a long time. And then I haven't really watched him until the Outfit Wars, and then he was talking about Outfit Wars, and he actually had some pretty good takes on a lot of things. So yeah,
cool. Yeah, I'll listen to him, but he normally doesn't like comment on the gameplay so much as he's just playing, and there's hundreds of people watching him. It's fascinating. He seems like a very like soft spoken. He sounds very soft spoken on his stream. So it's interesting that he's not like this huge hype machine and still pulling hundreds of people like that. That's cool. That is cool.
That's great for the game.
Yeah. So then we had the Ultimate Empire Showdown. I of course had to rep my NC, so I went with Kami, and we won we lost the Bastion battle, we won the Colossus battle, and then we lost the third one. Oh, the Combined Arms.
Oh, Combined Arms. I was gonna play in it, and one, I think I'm still burnt out, and two, 5 p.m. on a Sunday, I think was when it was, or something like that. And it's just like I feel like Zoe sacrificed a lot on the weekends for me to do the super long, and then they pushed it back, and that was a mess for the Outfit Wars. So yeah. I was like, this is not even that like a big of a deal. Like Dobbs has it unlocked, so I'll let them do their thing. They have enough people essentially is what I meant. They didn't like need. I was like, let me chill for a second.
Yeah, they folded pretty fast under the NC belt buckle, but
I love NC.
They ended up taking it. Yeah, but so in the beginning, like I'm showing it here now, they had Zarev.
Can you link me your stream? You're on YouTube, or
yeah, I'll link it to you in the stream.
I go to your YouTube, dude. YouTube. I go to your YouTube and there's nothing like, oh, you're live right now.
Oh no, it's on Twitch.
Oh well, it's actually that, you rat. Okay, relax. If I can find you on Twitch, I don't know why I thought you were.
So they had Zarev and Delta, who both of them I know them from pickups. When I don't play as often as I want to, but they're very good armor players. So they were casting with Zulfur, and in the beginning, Zulfur posed to Delta. He's also NC Connery. Hey, who do you think's gonna win? And he's like, well, I don't really think I can make that assessment unless I knew who was playing. And because we're Jaeger, we all had no-name accounts. But what I realized is that there were quite a few real armor players on NC, and like I main Colossus almost nowadays for the past.
No, baby.
And it's great, man. As long as you keep the expeditions on a good cycle, you can keep on doing it, and just you got to be smart. It's not like pulling a Vanguard. Like you can't just waste this thing, or you'll run out real fast of perps. Fair. But in any case, I've gotten to the point where I can solo it and I can stay alive a long time. Like 2 days ago, I lasted a whole alert on Hassan. So and we were just running around in enemy territory. It was pretty nuts. But I was one of the Colossus drivers, and our squad ended up having 2 Colossus, and we were just doing work, man. It was cool. It was good organized gameplay, and Winter's team went down first. He lost a lot of Colossus right up front, but it was because of Sirius. They clashed early on, whereas we were trying to find them, and that's just kind of how it played out. But we got our butts whooped the other
glad
times.
we had a good time though. Yeah, well, I mean, such different domains though.
Yeah,
Bastion being one of them, but
yeah. So I had a blast, man. I was right in my element, trying to.
Good. I'm happy.
Battery. So that was Empire Showdown. Then the Amazon Prime Gaming unlocked for Twitch. That was surprising and in a good way. I'm about dang time that they integrate Prime Gaming Amazon with PlanetSide 2. It's whatever they did to make that happen. Do more of that. That's
the number one thing. Is I'm sure they're testing it out. I don't know how easy it is, but. It's not. I mean,
they have so many guns in this game. Just give some of them.
True.
Give some of them.
True. That's what I'm saying. They need to expand on it.
Because that's free eyeballs right there. I am always looking at my Amazon Prime Gaming to see if the new stuff has come out. That's free eyeballs. And then the 10-year anniversary patch. So let's go kill that one. First thing, I'm sure you'll be happy about this one. There's no more vehicle remote deployment. So I can't deploy a Vanguard right from spawn anymore.
And it was nice listening to the Kami episode because it gave me a little more insight since like I said, I haven't been, around to try out some of this stuff because it was kind of a little general, right? No more vehicle remote deployment. I was like, but you can still spawn in like a Valkyrie that's flying, yes or no?
Yeah. You can still squad deploy into things. Like if I have logistics in a Vanguard, I can still squad deploy my turret gunner. But you can no longer just eat yourself into a vehicle from nowhere. I now have to, like the old days, run to the terminal, hope I don't get shot by a sniper.
Yep.
That happens now.
I feel like this. Oh, go ahead. No, finish your point here.
No, man, I feel more involved in the game.
It's a little more immersive.
Yep. Because now getting to my vehicle is part of the game. And for some reason, it feels like old PlanetSide.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And I think I'm for it. I need to make sure I test out a little bit. It's a little bit more of an annoyance if I'm the one pulling. Mm-hmm. It does slow things down a bit, but like you said, there's a little bit more risk now. Yeah, you could pull and there could be somebody there. Tommy said it best in yours is or maybe it was you that said it, but there's a little bit more downtime now. If I kill an ESF or I kill a tank, you can't just. There's a little bit more time until you can come back at me, so to speak, and I like that because you know how I feel about.
The bad news is I have more resources now because it takes me longer. It takes me about a tick longer to get into that vehicle, so I now have a tick more of nanites than I would normally.
It's got to be a wash, though, to a degree.
Yeah. It's
got to benefit. It's got to benefit my side more though, because
it's probably benefiting your side more. I don't notice because I'm still trying to run to it. Like I'm involved in the game, whereas you will see me a little bit less now.
Which I'm okay with.
But
your play style.
Yeah, that's true. And now with the Fafnir, that new AP turret, bro, and back in my AP, I don't have to run the old heat, the heat special turret that I had all this time. Try and keep my number one status.
Some of your gameplay. I am very specific on what I like, for anything, but I need to watch some of your gameplay because I think that would also give me some perspective and understanding how your points are created. Because as I was hinting at earlier, I feel like you're going to say one thing or we're in agreement, and then you have a very different take in regards to timers and less force multipliers.
Yeah, hit me with it. What was an example of that?
But and this has kind of been my point, but I feel like you play a little more aggressive. I don't see you as a big sitting in an 80% overpop, like in a spawn room. Now, granted, there's going to be sometimes you have no choice. That's the only fight. You're not going to drive all the way across the map and hope that the battle's still there. So like, I get that to a degree because I have to do that, right? Because I was NC exclusive for so long. I'm like, okay, this is the only fight, or there's no fights. I have to be at this. Like, there's no other fight for me to be at. I'm not going to, fourth faction. I just wasn't doing that. So I get that to a degree. But I feel like you're a more of we talked about this on the first one. Yeah. I think you're more of a assist and under pop or whatever fight that you're at with your guys. A little more useful, if that makes sense. You're there. Yeah. Cause you're like, dude, I'm dying all the time, and like you're like, I'm taking plink damage and the C for it, and it's like, I'm thinking like, yeah, but does it matter if you're an overpop? It doesn't. But then I was like, maybe he's not an overpop. Maybe he's doing a little more goblin-like type stuff where you're like, I'm the first one in the door. Like you're not, sitting behind a door that's behind like the front line and the second line. Like you're all the way in the secondary gen, and then they're like spawn camping like a biolab or something, but you're all the way in the back. You know what I mean? Like you're being you're a little more of like my play style.
I'm more of an aggressive player.
Yep. Yeah, but you're at a useful fight.
What's that?
I feel like you're more at like useful fights. Like, oh, there's like a bunch of tanks over here. Let me go fight them. You know what I mean? Like, or let me try to take these guys out.
I try to go toe for toe. Whatever it is that can hold my weight, I'm going right at them.
So then, but that's my point though, is like I'll have a take, or a kamikaze will have a take on, we need to lessen the force multiplier span, new player experience, yada, yada, yada. Then you're like, no. But you are, to me, you're like the infantry version of, the vehicle tank version of my infantry play, to a degree. maybe not as
I agree with
hardcore because I don't
From
think
what I know
Devil
of your
Dogs
gameplay,
are all
you're
that.
like super aggressive. You're in people's faces, just trying to run them down as much as you can. I'm trying to do the same thing. That's why, unfortunately, I die a lot because I'm trying to provoke a fight. Especially when I know that I can pop my shield, or if I can get an advantage on somebody, get a drop on them, and slay them, and then take their right partner out. It doesn't always work. In fact, a lot of times I fail. But I'm pushing on them. I'm not letting them sleep, is what it really comes down to. But if I don't have the numbers on my side, then sometimes I have to play defense. Like yesterday, we were on Esamir, right? And I was the only Vanguard player around in the whatever that almost top left.
What's that, the map north, top left,
Yeah.
northwest?
Right? Where that huge tundra plain is with all the ravines, all right? I was getting annihilated by this this king snake lightning and this prowler. And I was just happily trying to help out some people at a tower. They come out, they annihilate me out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, I got you. So then I pull again and I try and find them. They figure out where I am because I don't have stealth on, and then they kill me before I can get the last shot off of the lightning. I'm like, all right. So then I try and go far left. I put on my stealth, and then I finally catch them because they don't see me on the mini map. And then the whole armor battle ensues after that. But man, I lose a lot.
I feel you. But a lot. It's not a bad thing.
But with the Fafnir being a really cool looking AP, I'm back to having a lot of really good accuracy, like 40% accuracy. So it's I'm not disliking it. I'm really liking going back to AP.
Would you say you are at a 50-50 fight? Are you at an over pop fight or an under pop fight? Generally speaking. And then after that, the second part of the question is what do you prefer? What is your best fight when it comes to pop, like a percentage wise?
My best fights are 50-50 in tanks. What
do you think you are in most?
I think in most, I don't know. I guess if I'm honest, I think most of them are over pops.
Slightly, like a 55, 45, 60,
yeah,
40,
or
slightly.
Probably slightly.
And then in those specific fights, would you say you are rolling around with like 5 tanks with you and they have 2 tanks, or is it 1 tank of you or 2 tanks of you and they have like 5 tanks? Your specific engagements, for the most part, would you say you're an overpop or underpop just in that bubble inside of the larger bubble? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that's it. When Devil Dogs doesn't have quite the pop it does, its armor team is pretty much non-existent. So I'm really the only one running, and there may be one other person. So I'm usually by myself nowadays. Used to be we ran in packs and we encountered packs, and then we would fight in that bubble of overpop, underpop as it just shifts all around us. And if we're not paying attention, then we get wiped out by the infantry that we didn't see coming. That sort of thing. But nowadays I'm much more lone wolf. I almost don't even squad up because I'd have no one really to play with. So I am trying to find the fight while not getting utterly annihilated with nanites. But most of the time, I'm going. Like on Hassan, I'm almost always at Nascent Defiance.
So do you still play with Devil Dogs?
Yeah.
Like, do you still run ops with them?
Devil Dogs doesn't run ops right now. They don't have the numbers for it.
Oh.
That's what I mean. It's been in a decline. I did a StratSide with one of the leads D's, and we talked about how that's it's been going down. Connery
about maybe going to Esmer or not Esmer. When what is my server?
Emerald. They're talking about it, but really what it comes down to is we don't have 24/7 squads up anymore. So we're losing potential recruits to people who are running them. That's really what it comes down to. Because WTAC runs squads all the time. They're getting
it's so from an outfit. I'm trying to think of an equivalent, like an AOD or a PHX when they were around on Emerald. Any Phoenix? Mega Zerg fit, you can pull anybody from almost. If you it's so easy to it's not even poaching because their outfits are most of the time brain dead. There's a platoon up, but no one's really running it, right? So if you really wanted to, you can still recruit
No, that's true. But
It's so
Connery is a pretty lean server nowadays. It's a lot of people are squatted up, and the ones that are active are outfitted. There are some who aren't, but it's just not quite the same.
Zero ops, zero like, oh, we're gonna have squad up, or is it just random? Like someone's like, I'm gonna lead a squad tonight, type of thing.
Well, let me put it this way: I'm the one running squads nowadays for Devil Dogs. So I put in a chat like, "Hey, I'm running an armor squad tonight," and then I might get 2 or 3 people. Sometimes it's just myself. But lately, this past couple weeks when I've been running, I've been getting about 2 squads worth of puppies in an armor squad. So that's been good.
Man, because my thought process was, and maybe you've already done this before, but if you were running larger, I'm curious if you've tried it or you'd be willing to try it. Let's say you have, what were you guys normally running with in like the last time that you guys did ops consistently? How many squads? Not like 7 years ago, but like
probably about 3 squads.
Okay, so you have 3 squads, and then maybe you have like a 4th of your armor squad. Because I get my point here is like, let's say you have 1 or 2 tanks up, and you run out of nanites. Theoretically, you could have somebody from Alpha, Bravo, or Charlie be pulling for you on the regular,
right?
And then that would make you way more mobile. You got to leave your tank. You're like, well, dude, I won't be able to pull again. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. We'll have Bravo 6 pull for you, and just start doing that. It doesn't matter because you guys run ops. So did you guys ever do that?
Yes, but we would do it within the armor squad. So what we would do is we'd rotate gunners and drivers. Otherwise, we're pulling gunners from pubs, and that's very unreliable at times. So we would do like
you would not. They're only pulling it for you. They're not going to be a gunner or a driver. They're only literally pulling it for you when you're out of nanites.
We usually never ran out of nanites.
Oh,
when we were running, I'm not kidding, man. When we were running as wolf packs, not even wolf pack, we just armor squads. We lost sometimes. Were you directly
supporting your platoon?
We lost sometimes, but yeah, we frequently were able to just focus fire whatever we came across, even if it was real.
But were you directly supporting your infantry in your platoon, or was it like, oh, they're redeploying here, we can't really get there fast enough, so we're just gonna
we're following the infantry around.
Okay, good. Okay, hey, I'm glad you guys were. And then you don't even need that if you weren't running out of nanites. Okay,
right.
I thought you had made a comment about running out of nanites. I was like, okay, well, maybe this would be an interesting.
Yeah, we normally.
Like does that.
I mean, after all these years, we figured out how to professionally manage these nanites. So,
yeah.
But as soon as we hear, hey, there's a prowler squad coming up, we are diverting to go engage them. It's just automatic for us.
Okay,
it's just kind of like those birds, like mine.
Right.
I don't know. It's the thing.
Good. Well, went way down the rabbit hole. I totally forgot we were talking about vehicle remote deployment.
No more vehicle remote. I feel much more immersed now. So, hey, A+. Love it.
I like it, though.
Second one is Capture the Conduit. Have you played that yet?
I haven't touched the game since Alpha Wars ended.
It's Capture the Flag. It's an actual capture. So these 3 little pictures down there on slide 7, that left one, that's in a triple stack on the 2nd floor, or it might be actually in an L-shaped. You have a staff there. You go up, you hotkey it, grab it, then you're running with the staff to get to another triple stack on the 2nd floor where that thing is. All you have to do is touch it. So what most people do nowadays, and they're normally separated by like, I don't know, 100 meters, 150 meters or whatever, and you have to do that like however many times. Most bases are like 9, 12, 5. So you have to do that 9 times, and then you capture the base. So it's not a timer.
And what did the defenders only have to kill?
So all the defenders have to do is kill the person with the flag, touch it before the timer resets, and then it resets the counter back to the max. So if they get all the way down to 1, they kill the flag runner, then they touch the flag, it goes back, then they have to restart back at 9.
You think that's crazy?
It's hardcore.
That seems very difficult.
I don't think I'm wrong I've played it a couple of times.
Because dude,
it is still pretty new. So I'll disclaimer. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening.
It wouldn't be your play style a lot either.
Right. But I played it a few times, so I haven't really extensively tested it out.
I'll be honest, I hate the idea of it, but I don't know how people are actually feeling about it, but I hate the idea of it.
I've heard mixed, and some people really hate it, especially because for some reason a lot of the bases they chose, the flag point was within shooting distance, line of sight of the defensive spawn. So especially J9, the butthole, it's right there in front of. You can shoot from the top level, you can shoot from the spawn room, so people just like gun you down as soon as you try and touch it. And then, you don't have to really do anything in J9, just sit there and spawn because the timer doesn't run out.
I did say they need to be experimenting with new things. They just can't experiment with new things and then it's like been there for like 2 years or something. Like either it's working or it's not. And you know what I mean? You can't go too far. Like for something like CTF, you don't want to like, oh, here's version 1, version 2, version 3, like construction. Like just if it's bad, let it go, and we'll try something else. It just doesn't sound PlanetSide to me, which I know you always be talking about. And
yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I also like that they're trying something new. I'm not going to fault them for it.
CTF though is very like arena shooter-ish. It just seems like the general thought process on it, like. But I mean, I guess you're still capping. I don't know. Whatever.
So
that one I'm gonna have to wait on. But
the current meta for this is you get light assault, and then you grab the flag, go up to the third, and then you do the what's the jetpack that lets you glide?
Glide. I don't know.
Whatever the gliding one is, not ambush or whatever. But what you can do is you can glide all the way across the base and just drop on top of the other triple stack. So that's pretty much what you do, and then you just cycle through like that.
Because again, I'm slight meta there, but I want them to explore more. And I talked about this with Outfit Wars. More, I hate to use the word tactics or strategy, but like it feels so, at this point in the game so vanilla and straightforward on how to attack or defend a base. Mm-hmm. You're very limited in your options. And I like there to be a little bit more of a variety, like a little more depth to attacking and defending outside of just everyone is on the point.
What would that look like? Like more avenues that they can run down?
We'd have to explore that more. But like little, I mean, again, and who knows if it worked, but what's Haywood Chemical has the bridges that you can hack for your faction. You know what I'm talking about?
Haywood.
Haywood
Chemical? The bridge where like if
you can change the color. I don't even know if they reverted it to a different way. I just know there's a bridge.
No, it's still there. If you try and run over it and it's not your color, then you fall into your death.
Right. So like that's something that's very unique and is like almost, I don't even think it's anywhere else in the game if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You could go so many different ways with that. Not necessarily like you fall through, but you could like hack like essentially you could like hack it and like turn it on and like that could be like a back pathway in somewhere. Or you could like open a door somehow. Like I don't know. There's just so many different. The bases would have to be probably a lot different, but just because most players spawn in and they go like whatever the most direct route is to the point, right? And then like you have some outfits and they're like, okay, we're gonna go skinny stairs instead of dubs, right? And that's like it's complicated as it gets. I would just wish sometimes there'd be a little bit more option wise for like outfits.
What if instead of spawning at a base or a building, the spawn always instant actioned you in?
I think that it's too important to have like a front line. I think. Okay. If that makes sense. Like this is like their main spawn. Yeah, you could pull a Thunder up over here, but if you pop it, then they're stuck with that spawn. I like the idea of a fight developing around and like kind of a tug of war.
It sounds like you want more attack routes.
I like the idea of tug of war. In regards to we've taken E point or something, and now we have a foothold to push this point.
Yeah, like the new nations where you have the A and B points that are on the outskirts.
Yes,
you have
but
C point, which is underneath.
What's the point of like? Nations is the best 3-way fight in the game that you can get.
I love that.
And it's the best base that supports the largest pop in the game. But it's still too compact because especially
when you try to go underground.
Well, because look, okay, so So like realistically, as an infantry player, for the most part, you're going to be attacking from the north or the south.
Okay.
So really, you're going to cut yourself off to about 50% of the base that you can approach without running into, unless if there's another team down there or something. But so let's just say it's a 3-way fight. So generally speaking, you only have, let's say you're on B point, you only have the tunnel, and then you have the 2 side entrances. You have 3 ways in, and they're tiny. And let's say you're fighting with a couple hundred people there. When you've seen the tunnel. Well, I mean, I know you're a tank player, but the tunnel's been, there's like 60, 70, 80 people down there. Resonay's going off, and it's just this like grind of like nothing.
Yeah, that's
like,
where we were fighting for the ultimate showdown, and we just kept dying in those tunnels. I had my squad pull full medic just so we can keep on reviving people. That's how much we were dying.
I just want a little bit more options at like a base of that size when the pop's hitting those numbers. So it's not such a choke point, death fest of grenade spam, which everyone can get 4 grenades if they want to, maxes, yada yada yada, and like give us another avenue to get down there. That's, I don't know, open things up a little bit. I do not
a
like
launch pad that shoots you down through the middle, kind of like a containment site. It's crazy idea, but like say you have a launch pad from A point of Nasons and it shoots you down into the middle of Nasons down into C.
Again, I don't have the answers for it because I really haven't sat down and thought about it.
Or teleport.
But I would like to see a little more depth to the game in regards to attacking and defending.
Okay.
And a lot of bases are just 1 point, and it's like this. There's like one building with a A point inside of it, like a triple stack. And you're like, okay, great. There's 200 players here. Let's see how this goes. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just, it just becomes bogged down. It just takes away from, instead of like stretching your lines out almost of like, let's say you have 100 players, you're like, and like, everyone's trying to flank each other, and you get your main group kind of going for it, but then everyone's kind of, just naturally progresses out on both sides. And you kind of spread your players out essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The way that most bases feel is like everyone is just beelining it. 90% of the players there are beelining it for that point from the south side, and the other 90% on the other team is beelining it from the north side. And it's like, and you're fighting in like one room with like a bazillion people, and like it doesn't promote like more spread outness of a fight, which I think would just be better overall, if that makes sense. Very few times I'm like, oh, this was a great fight where like what's the meme?
The instant action meme?
Competitive PlanetSide, where it's just resonate spam. I get up, hopefully I don't get one framed and I can kill somebody, or I can get to a corner. But it's just resonate over and over again, like until hopefully you cap it or they push you out.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I want a little more. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, they did tweak the spawn system, and I've noticed a big change. I don't fully understand it though. I never was really one to.
They don't know.
They said here in the patch notes, it says spawn priority system has been reactivated and now distributes large numbers of spawn requests over multiple server frames to reduce tax on the server. I don't know what that means.
Oh, okay, let me read this. Let's see how yours this one is. That just makes it sound like it's a performance thing as a result. Or
I definitely noticed a better performance, less.
But it's different also,
frame.
like where you can spawn and stuff, and like how the pops work, right?
Right. Well, the population flow has changed. I don't know how. I don't fully understand it, but fights seem much more even, and it seems natural. It's not like I can't get to this place anymore like it used to be, where you just randomly like these 3 bases you couldn't ever spawn at. Who the hell knows why?
Mm-hmm.
But now it seems like I can spawn at most bases and they're good fights. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they changed.
Interesting. I wish they would have detailed a little bit more, but I mean, maybe it's just the cap. Like, once you hit 50 or 55%, like you just can't spawn in there, or it takes longer to spawn in. I don't know. But
yeah, I have no idea, man. Whatever they did,
Overpop's thinking was bad. In the and like people just everyone just like 3 platoons redeployed to the fight, and there's like 12 of you. You're like, okay, all at once. It's just like the fight would end in like 10 seconds. So yeah, this sounds much better. I need to go to Goblin a Gobs Ops again. They keep pushing the timers at like 8 or 8:30, and I keep missing it because by the time I get Liam down with this new pet, it's like I struggled to get in here. I had to pull some strings, get some crazy looks. So, I've been missing it. But I'm curious how the new spawn.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
sure.
sounds like
I'm
it's
not
gonna
very
be
smart on it.
advantageous for.
I tried looking it up. I tried reading about it, but I still it goes over my head. But they made some pretty awesome graphic improvements.
I did see that.
I play on Ultra nowadays. I stopped playing Potato, just because I want to enjoy the aesthetics, and it looks better.
For like a new player experience, it's a good thing.
No, man, when I turned back on Ultra, I forgot how cool this game looked. And then when they did the graphic improvements, they did like water alterations and like shadow adjustments, and it just looks cleaner.
Yeah,
and it looks
more modern, I guess, is like a
yeah. It looks tighter, is what it is.
Because I was watching one of Kamikaze's videos, or you guys were talking about, but the number one most important thing for a game is it has to be optimized. It has to run. You have to be able to play it, no matter how pretty it is. If my computer can't handle it, right? Because then I can't play it. But then once you can play it, then you got to optimize it to where it's like, okay, we want to have most people in like this bucket of frames, right? Because you don't want to play the game with 10 frames. Like that makes no sense. So like that's my only concern is how much do you lose? How much am I forced as a potato guy to activate certain graphics now that I have to play with, and that's going to affect my performance? That's my greatest concern. But if it doesn't really touch that, I'm cool with it.
I've been playing on Ultra, and I've only noticed some frame rate drops in some fights. And there's some random things that happen now.
You have a monster computer?
I don't have a monster computer. It's getting kind of older now.
So you don't have a 30 series GPU?
A 30 series what?
GPU.
I have an i5 or i7 6700. Okay.
Oh damn. Okay. And then okay. Hold on. What's your GPU though? Dude, you're ridiculous. You're out of control. That's your next YouTube video. Is what the fuck do I even have for a computer?
I have a SLI 1080.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was one of the last SLIs that worked functionally like across
Ultra?
the board.
How many frames are you getting in Ultra at a large fight?
About low 50s, high 40s.
You can't play infantry like that.
I'm playing fine.
You literally cannot make some of the jumps in the game unless you're at like.
I don't need to jump. Frames? I'm in a tank.
I just said as infantry, you can't play the game's unplayable.
I'm playing the game as a tank, and I'm shooting, and I don't notice any. Like I'm not jumping all over the place. It's some fights, some of the time, but it's very
40
minimal.
or 50 frames is like crazy noticeable though. That's nuts to me because that's like I can't. Wow, my mind's boggled right now, dude. Well, if I make a lot of money or I win something or other, I'm gonna buy you a new PC so you can get more frames.
There's some fights. Most of the time, I get 100.
Don't ever look or play on anyone else's. I'm not even gonna ask that. Don't ever play the game on someone else's machine that's good or has like a 240 hertz or 360 hertz monitor or something that can get those frames. Don't do it.
I have a 100 hertz monitor,
now, dude. You would be like way better. That's crazy.
You think I'd be way better? Is that it?
Oh, what, dude? Yes. Yeah. Noticeably better. And you're already pretty good. Thanks. So, I mean,
just don't tell Lex. He'll flame my ass.
Like I play on Ultra and I haven't really noticed that much of a performance issue, but I'm getting about 40 frames. It's like, okay, dude, yeah, well, yeah, you're getting like literally like dunked on, and that's crazy with less frames. But hey,
all right. And the last thing is they fixed the server. I still hear that there's some performance issues and every now and again.
Yeah, fix the server, and then you lead with this. Does some performance. Okay.
I mean, 40 frames. I don't know. I saw it like one day not long ago. I usually don't look at my frame rate. But I'm not hitching. I'm not jumping all over the place. I'm not lagging out. My ping is good. Then again, I do play on Connery, and I'm based on the East Coast, so there is a little bit of a lag already. But I'm able to go.
Dude, that's crazy. I think at minimum 120. Minimum you have to play at 120.
What do you mean minimum 120
frames?
Right now I'm at 100, and I'm not even playing a game.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. Well, like I said, if I can buy you something, I will at some point. But That man,
That
that's
got me
giving
curious. What
stress.
exactly does 120 frames do for me?
Bro, this is mind-boggling.
I'm asking, man. I'm asking. I don't know.
I've never been a numbers guy. I'm not a review. This is outside my world. I watched that video. It's like, do you even need a monitor over 60 hertz or 60 frames per second? Like, can your eyes even see that? And for like way back before it even became a meme, because everyone's like, you can't even see 120 frames a second. You can't see, your eyes can't see over 60. And like, I believe that. And then it's like, no. As soon as I went to 144 hertz, literally game changer. I can never go back to 60. And then I went to 360. But I need to upgrade my PC before I can actually benefit from it, because I think I get around like 120, 140 frames.
I have a really big monitor though. I don't want to get rid of this thing. Got a 3440. That's why my videos look like letterboxes.
Wait, you playing at what, 4K? Oh, 34 inches.
3440 by 1440.
Oh, so you're playing at 1440. Oh, so you're playing at like 2K.
Yeah, it's like as long as my arm.
That's gonna affect your. But you're playing. How big is it? What's the, like a TV? Like I have a 65-inch TV or something. What is? Bro, are you kidding me? This is okay. So is it more like a TV size, a small TV size, or
it's really long. It's like really long and kind of letterbox. I don't know. Hold on, let me.
Ultra wide.
It's the Acer Predator is what it is.
Okay, so it's gotta be like a 27 then. It's really long.
It's like X34 or something like that.
So 34. Okay, 34. So you have a 34 inch. Okay, so like a very small TV. Okay, that's a big. Yeah, that's big. That's big.
So I love this thing to death, because I can see left and right on my scope. It's awesome. It's so good.
So you just need a better GPU, CPU. You just need a better PC. You can keep your monitor. I think 34 is way too big, but you play tanks, so maybe not. But
no, being on a tank in this thing, I can left and right really easy. It's good. I like it a lot.
I want to say the precision is better, if that makes sense with my friends. There's got to be like an easy like Google.
Well, I'm on 3440, so I'm way zoomed out. I'm even on widescreen mode in the graphics. So I'm not zoomed in to where my accuracy is going to be able to just automatically headshot, I think, like some other people can. But I can see a lot more. And that's the gain I get.
Which is good for vehicles, I suppose.
Right. To me, information is life. If I know where you are, I'm going to kill you. I'm just going to wait for you to turn. I'm going to engage you when you're out of your vehicle. I'm going to kill you.
Well,
Doesn't always work, but does help.
Well,
so yeah, I have my new graphics stuff came in from Black Friday, so I just need to put it all together and I guess see if it goes up from 100. I have no idea.
Just smoother. Well, you have an Acer Predator. I'm assuming I need your model. I'm just curious. You gotta have like a 144 hertz monitor. When did you get it?
Ooh,
34, 14.
6 years ago.
Yeah,
4
maybe
years
like
ago.
that. Maybe it's only 60 hertz.
It's 100.
Oh, it's 100 hertz monitor.
I don't know. Hold on.
Don't worry about it. This is beyond you.
Yes, it is beyond me.
That's okay. It's okay. I'm just mind boggled right now. That's crazy.
All I know is I noticed
you get a benefit for sure.
The old server problems, a lot of those are gone now. The spawn system seems to be more fluid. Fights seem to be bigger and more balanced.
Good.
Just across the board, that's what it seems like for me.
Hey, if that's what we have to have, and then maybe some CTF on the side, I'll take that. That's reasonable. That's more reasonable than I think most updates. Plus, shotgun changes, great. Plus, Bastion.
Ain't great for my piston.
Bastion now, dude. I mean,
let's go about that Bastion. So you're a big fan of the Bastion change.
I like it. I mean, that's good changes all around. Still haven't touched the max. Don't understand that one, but that's fine. It is what it is. But hey,
so the Bastion they turned into like a mobile spawn, mobile disruptor, and you can't attack coordinates anymore. So like the automated turrets, those are gone, but you can have Mauler player turrets, and they can still fire AA guns. That's still a thing.
Wait, there's still Mauler turrets.
What's that?
There's still Mauler turrets. I thought they were gone. Okay.
Well, I might hit the wrong word. Not the one where you do attack coordinates and it will fire for you, but the player guns, you still have those.
Hey.
So
they got rid of all.
So Old Bastion, no, they didn't get rid of all. Old Bastion, you had an automated attack turrets, and then you had player turrets. So it was almost like a Duster and a Dalton put together. And then you had the almost like old school Dalton, where it would just annihilate everything it touched.
I didn't know it was automated.
Right. I drove them when they first came out, so I was a big fan. Yeah, I think I got like over 100 kills with it the first.
Yeah, that's definitely broken. Well, I mean, regardless, it's a better change than what it was. So,
but now you can't do that anymore. You can move it around. You can use its assault facility, which I like where they're going with it. You know, I love my Bastion, but okay, fine. Assault facility means that you.
It's almost as if the Bastion fleet carrier was broken.
Yeah, sure. I mean, not since the Larian came out though. I have a VOD up testing the Larian, and I 7-shot 1 hard point of a Bastion. So I took out 3 hard points of a Bastion with 21 shots.
How long did it take you?
It took me about 15, 20 seconds.
You took out 3
because I had max reload by that point. I just started into the max reload, and it was just because that thing fires like a laser. There's no drop. It just pew pew pew, and all you need is 7 shots, destroys a hard point.
Yeah, but you only have how many hard points can you really attack from that ground?
You can on Hassan, you can attack the bottom 2, and then when you get up on the mountains, you can attack the side 4. You can't attack the top 2 on its front bow or whatever it is on the very front. So
it would still take a decent amount of time to get them all, though, or like, you know what I mean?
No, I had a whole VOD, and in one VOD sitting, I think it was like 20 minutes, I killed 4 hard points.
Okay, but that's my point. But 20 minutes is a long time for you to kill
a
not
free
the whole
Chimera.
Yeah, I get your point, but it's still 20. My point is, dude, but from majority of the time, the old school Bastion was broken. One player really benefits from it. It has an insane amount of health.
And this was the old school Bastion, by the way. This was when the Chimera came out
with
the Larian, and that's what's just be me by myself. Get me 2 other Larians, dude. We're shredding that thing. It's going down in no time.
You might as well just give me an aimbot on the ground for an hour or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I feel like is comparable. Like, give me like 100 or 1,000 X on like a max health. And then give me like an aimbot on the ground for headshots, and then good luck, try to kill me. That's what it feels like.
The Larian was pretty ridiculous, man. Exactly where your reticle is pointing, that's where the shot went. I mean, I played it for a little while. I'm like,
new player experience. I'm saying like Bastion, very very bad. Actually, for any player not in it, bad. There's nothing good from a Bastion in that regard. You can't really.
I agree.
You're gonna go in the sky. Okay, good.
I agree.
Okay,
and now you've got the assault facility, which acts as though you have a point in your favor already. The lockdown, which stops the cap timer, and then the anchor, which is a faction-wide spawn.
Yeah, very interesting.
That's pretty cool.
I'm curious how this is going to be with the new spawn changes too. If that will be like a major thing or not. And I'm curious how much they're going to get pulled still. I don't know if I like the lockdown because it's like halting the timer feels a little cheap to me, because it's like, okay, we're already on the ground. It's like, now I gotta like, everyone has to go to the sky essentially to take this out for us to do anything, or we could go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, you have to stay in place. You can't move.
I mean,
when you lock down, you're stuck there. And in a lockdown, Bastion is a vulnerable one. Now, especially since you don't have automated cannons.
That's true. Okay, I mean, again, it's better than what it was, so I'll take it.
Yeah. They were. I was in the Colossus 2 nights ago on Hassan, and there was I think a VR or TS Bastion, and I Skylance battery the first one. It went down, but then they spotted me, and then they chased me around the map. But because they didn't have automated turrets, their players had to find me in the brush. It was a game of cat and mouse. It was pretty fun. So it felt more fair this time around.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah.
I was able to get one of the hard points. It wasn't like a huge win.
My favorite. The Spitfire will shoot you before it can turn and actually point its gun at you.
Yeah. It was good.
Crazy.
It's a good time. So that's the Bastion now. So I'm a big fan of this patch. I think it did quite a bit of cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, I mean, besides some performance issues that were around for too long and are slowly coming off, which is normal, I guess. It doesn't matter what patch you do. That's just PlanetSide in general, so that's whatever.
Yeah.
But
I'm normally not even a patch guy. I barely even pay attention to them unless they affect my tank. But this one was noticeably different.
And like I said, the shotgun changes. There's been a lot of good changes recently that I think I'm into.
So, what are some other things? Because you got me interested. What are some other things that you thought that we were good on one subject, but not another one?
Notes now on my phone. Well, you guys, you conceded your point, your side, but I didn't really feel like you were like really on board with it when it comes to force multipliers. And we kind of touched on this earlier. I feel like you are against the cap timer, or timer after you die and pull and whatnot, because you play, I feel like, from more of a skilled force multiplier perspective, a little more help. Your bubble that you're in with other tanks is you're by yourself and you're fighting other tanks. Either it's going to be a one-on-one, or it's going to be you against more than one. So realistically, even though you're in overpop, you're not necessarily always fighting in overpop. If that makes sense.
Right. I'm not looking for the overpop. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So I don't. The issue is, like, I've been playing a lot of war game recently. This is RTS.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the game.
Mm.
And of course, like, essentially, like, there's different units. Different units cost different amount of points. You get X amount of points to start. Then you get like a trickle of points in that you can, like, slowly bring more units in. And then obviously there's dog shit units that are very cheap, and there's really good units that are really expensive. And then all unit types have a cap on them. So, like, let's say your super heavy tank, which is like your best unit, you can only get one or two of. You can get one. You can upgrade it and have a little bit better stats. You can get one of it, or you can keep it where you can, like, kind of downgrade it. Essentially, you can get two of them. But once you lose those, you don't get any more for the game. And then you can, like, dog shit infantry, and you can, like, 18 of them or like 36 of them. But my point being is, yeah, I'm gonna pull the super heavy every single time if I have an unlimited supply of them, right? I would just pull all super. I would just pull the best units at all times. But, like, that kind of takes away from, like, skill and, like, using different things and, like, choosing. And that's kind of like, you should never always have access to everything in the game. At any point, you can pull the best tank stuff, the best A2G, the best 8A, the best max, infantry max, whatever. You just can't have that available all the time, is my point. It's not, no other games really do that. Here's where you're at with that.
All I can think about is
obviously a tank is better than an infantry, or a max is better than just a standard infantry.
But hold on. A heavy assault in your hands is better than, probably, I'd say, a somewhat experienced tanker. if you're going up against, like, Delta or Clone, but
a tank versus one heavy assault,
you know what to do with it, though. You've got all these things at your disposal that you know how to peek. You know how to bob and weave.
Okay, but how many decimator shots for me to kill a tank?
Yeah.
On average. Don't even get detail. On average. 7, 9?
Yeah, that's probably right.
Let's hope I don't miss. Which means I need to be close. Right? Let's hope you don't leave and just go repair. Right? Let's hope you don't kill me. It's not going to happen. C4, if I sneak up on you, I get lucky. That's it.
I died to C4 more than I probably want to admit.
Yeah, but you play aggressive. You're not playing against. You're not.
That's true.
This is my point, though. Kamikaze is like, these things are bad because there's overpop and there's a bunch of these and all these things are happening. You're like, well, I don't want the cap timer. I think it's bad, blah, blah. You're like, I get plinked. I get C4 and all this. Is like, yeah, but you're not. These are not the fights that Kamikaze and all of us are talking about, though. You're not sitting in 80% overpop. You're not. There's not 80. You play NC, right?
Say what?
You play NC? Yeah, there's not 80 NC and then you, and then 5 guys in the spawn, or 10 guys trying to get out of the spawn, or 20 guys even. Let's say it's 4-1 or 3-1, whatever that is. There's 90 and there's 30 of us. You're not sitting in that fight as a max and acting like you're getting dinked and C4'd and like you're dying all the time. It's not happening.
No.
The fights that you're talking about are way different. And that's my point. That's Kamikaze's point, is like the fights that we're talking about that are bad for the game are the fights that don't even need force multipliers. You just have 80 engineers, you're going to fucking cap the base. You're going to kill the 30 other players. You don't need 80 players plus 2 tanks on the hillside that I can't even hit, plus the 5 maxes, plus the 8. You see what I'm saying? Those are the fights that we're talking about that are abusive for the game and for new players. I don't care about a new player in a max. It's not going to help them. They're going to die just as fast in their max as they were for the most part as an infantry player, right? It's the other players that have been around in the game for even just a little bit that understand how the game works that it becomes the issue.
Okay.
If that makes more sense.
I buy that, but how do you affect me in an overpop match in a way that doesn't affect me out of it?
Well, it comes down to risk and reward, and we've talked about that in the first one.
Yeah.
There's very little risk associated with pulling a max at an overpop fight. There's no risk there, right? So, to me, and I talked about this, especially for something that if you could even restrain it to competitiveness, but I think that'd be dumb too, because live is the majority of the game. The idea is I'm not going to pull this better like multiplier or this better thing because I don't need to here. I'm going to save it for a time that I need it. Just like a lot of games. A lot of games is like your best stuff. You don't necessarily always bring it. You got to choose when to use it and when not to use it. As opposed to, well, yeah, I can pull 2 more tanks. I have enough nanites to pull 4 lightnings. I can pull a lightning here, get a couple kills, now it's fine. Like that's my point. Is it needs to be a little more honed in when you're using these things. If that makes sense. Yeah, sure. Go for it. You want to use your the one max you're going to get in the next 20 minutes at this overbot fight. I know you're not going to have it the next one, so that's cool. I'm okay with that.
I'm good. I'm behind that when it comes to maxes, but if the bottom line is you're making me stay out of my tank longer, ow.
Okay, everyone's like realistic, bro. There's the countries with like the most like armored vehicles, or whatever, or tanks, like, and it's still a couple thousand. And that's not even their most updated. Like Russia's, like they're like, oh, they have 10,000 tanks, or they have 10,000 armored transport vehicles. It's like, of those 10,000, you may only have 1,000 or 2,000 of like actual like modern era, like updated like optics and whatnot, right? And a bunch of other shit's just trash. Like my thing is like, in PlanetSide at any given time, if AOD really wanted to, out of a 48 player platoon, probably, especially at like a start, either all 48 players could pull whatever you wanted. They could all be in Vanguards. They could all be in ATG. They could all be in Maxes. Or maybe there'd be like 5 or 6 players like don't have nanites quite yet. You know what I'm saying? My point is, it's like not every. It's like having an airplane or like any vehicle for every infantry, like in the United States Army or something. Like it's like, oh, like if we can put you in anything we want. No, there's a limited supply of these things because why? I mean, they're expensive and whatnot. But the idea of the game is like there's the force multiplier, right? It's stronger than your normal infantryman. You gotta be careful in how you give that to players. You can't have access to it all the time.
So I guess something that you could do, I might be for this, is if you limited the number of tanks a faction could pull.
I went deep into it when I was thinking about this. Because I was like, how do you do it? Because you have single players, you have small outfits, you have large outfits, you have then you have the faction. It's like I was going down a deep rabbit hole. I was even thinking about things like Sunderers could only pull 2 maxes from each Sunderer. Like that's the limit, and then you have to like go get resources for somewhere else or something, like drive it back. You can't just like, or like no maxes. Sunderers, like honestly, Sunderers probably you shouldn't be able to pull any maxes from. But then it's like, okay, if the base can spawn maxes that you're attacking, it's like, okay, that might be difficult to actually take. Then if the defender's gonna maxes, but you can't. So okay, then maybe you just limit how many maxes you can pull. But then you just limit how many maxes could be pulled from said base. And like maybe that's on a timer almost. But then it's like, okay, well, what if other players take the max before I get there, and then I spawn in there and I can't pull my max? I mean, that goes back to at the warp gate. If you want to pull a max and you have the resources, you can always do it, right? So like, okay, yeah, you're gonna have a little more immersion back in the day where you had like load up in your galaxy and like fly it out. But if you want to max at a fight at like a triple point base, maybe it's like there's only 5 maxes that can be pulled at base. And then so like let's say you have 4 out of 5 maxes, or you have 5 out of 5, someone pulls it, then it goes on like a 20-minute timer or a 5-minute timer or whatever you want to have, and then it will replenish that max back up by 1. If that makes sense? And,
yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking more of like a total cap. Like say for Connery, you have 600 players on maybe a night, sometimes 300, 400. So let's say 10%, 15% can be in a tank, in a vanguard. And 5% of that max, or 10% of that max, can be in a lightning. So 400 players, 10%, that's 40 tanks. And whenever the 41st player tries to pull a tank, they can't. Won't let them. No matter where they are on the map.
Yeah, but see, I do get your point of like we should have access to these things at all times. But I think the trade-off there is you have to do it from the warp gate. It takes more time, slows it down a little bit. But then at the front lines, you gotta reduce the amount that these things can. And A2G is hard because airplanes and the maps aren't really that big. Like it is pretty easy to get anywhere with an ESF, right? Like how do you limit that then?
That's right, and it would be a whole lot harder for me to deal with air when I have less tanks on my side.
But there'd be less air, hopefully, right? To a degree.
Oh, you would want to put a limiter on the air too?
It'd be on any force multiplier.
Oh. Them gals?
Yeah, again, you have to. I mean, you gotta go deep with it, but I guess if you were to separate everything, if it really came down to it, and you really maybe wanted to try with maxes, I guess that'd be a good start. Because max, this is the other thing. If your tank dies, you can't go out there and magically revive it.
True.
And this is what you and Kami, and I was hoping he would touch on it, but I think he was caught off guard and just didn't have time to think about it. But the issue with the max is, like, your thing with the C4 is like, well, yeah, the players have C4. It's like, okay, if I throw my C4 and I use my C4, that C4 is gone. Those resources, there's no, I can like go pick up the pieces of my C4 and I get my C4 back. No, I got to spend $450 to get it back or whatever it costs. I don't know. The problem with the max though is the only thing in the game that's force multiplier that can be repaired and revived, right? I don't think there's any other thing that I can't get more med kits if I use them, right? And, I can't go pick up the old syringe. Like that's the issue with the max is like you can finally
and you have
kill that
phylactery
max.
on.
Oh, dude.
Every 3 charges you get auto rest.
It's so stupid. It's mind-boggling to me. Like that's part of the issue with the game is you can even like suicide on the max and like risk and like if you or finally make this push and you finally kill the max, then you wipe and they just res it up. Very, 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 very dumb. That needs to go. That's probably the number one thing.
I believe you. I take your word for it because you're the infantry player.
Like, no. But it's not. I mean, just the concept of it though.
I'd be for a limit on the maxes.
And I think there's a way to do it though with like the vehicles too, so it's a little more choosy on where you use them and pull them.
I don't know. Do you feel like there's too many vehicles around?
And that's one thing. Maybe a base design would be better. How do you limit A to G but you don't limit tank?
How do you limit A to G but you don't limit tank? Are you?
We're going to limit how many airplanes can be in the sky, but we're not going to limit how many tanks. It seems like it's a bit of a disconnect.
I would rather have one. Everybody gets limited, or nobody.
So I'm saying so you have to do with.
I think we both agree we can limit the maxes.
Yeah, I think you need to get rid of revive on maxes, and I think, and I also think the repair should be very slow.
The repair is already slow, dude. I'm an engineer main. It takes forever.
It's not. You're lying.
I am not lying, man.
Okay, in 10 seconds, how much repair can you do? Exactly. 1 locomotive, 2 locomotive. It's so slow. You're max health, but it's so slow. Dude, you can do 3 engineers? How many engineers can you stack on a max?
Yeah, if you're stacking engineers, then it's easy. Okay, I got you there.
You got to think about how things snowball and overpop. The other issues we talked about before, but 1v1v1 is also very, very new player bad. But hold on, I want to come back to that though. But I do think if you were able to limit, maybe not a timer or whatever it is, I like the idea of maybe a limit on how many you can pull at a base or something with a max. I mean, there's so many ways you go about it. They just need to experiment a little bit more. But if you get rid of the revive, I think that's the easiest, not even controversial change for a max that you could do that would really help balance them. And then look at how you do. Would you start limiting maxes or limiting pulls in a positive way that doesn't stop you from playing in it essentially all the time.
If you got rid of the max revive, would you also buff the max up a little more?
I think honestly, I think the damage output.
No, it's not the damage output.
No, I'm just saying
input.
I agree. I think the health on the max is decent. Yes, C4 is powerful, but it costs nanites. Decimator takes a little bit of skill to aim. And
Yeah,
as
but
long
you
as
can
don't
throw
get
that thing
too-
like a grenade at me. You just bloop, bam, I'm dead.
Yeah, but not really.
What do you mean not really, man?
Bro, like besides
When I'm
ambush,
not engineering, when I'm not tanking, I'm maxing. And guess what? I die a lot by someone boosting through, especially now those little grenade things that just catapult them across.
the rocket.
Yeah.
Oh no, the little grenade like you shoot out the. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're like EMP grenade that just propels them forward, and then they ambush your jets right on top of me. Bam, C4 right on my face.
You can't have high output damage and a fuck ton of health.
You can if you don't get revived.
But why do you need that? Why do you need to have both? To me, like I get it, but like you can't have like there's very little risk then.
Do you know how
high
fast
damage and high defense.
a max can die? Again,
Yeah,
you're talking to an aggressive player who I'm trying to learn to be a little bit more defensive with a max because I die too quick. I can't run through.
Listen to what you're saying, dude. You know how fast I die?
Yeah, well, I'm in a max, bro. I'm supposed to kill you fast.
Exactly. Something outside of the core gameplay. Something that costs something. Something that is a force multiplier. Something that again, it costs something. Like, yeah, C4 is powerful, but I get 2 bricks of it. I have to be relatively close to you. If you have flak on it and I'm not right on top of you, you're not going to die.
That's not true. That's not true. I run flak all the time, and it still doesn't help me. I notice an effect. I don't always die, but gosh darn, man, that C4 nails me, and then I get decied, and bam, it's over.
That's fair. But you still have a lot of health. You do.
Yes.
You can take a decent amount of damage.
I mean, I have more health than you.
Yes, and you can output a lot of damage. You have a very strong...
That is the big one. I can output a lot of damage.
Is
that what really the problem is? It's like, you just want to tweak, you want to nerf my damage a little bit, and then I get my health? Is that okay?
Yeah. I don't know how... Again, I've talked about it before, but fight flow is very important to me.
Okay.
I don't like
you're the expert here. I don't know how infantry fight flow works that well.
I mean, for instance, I don't like the idea of I'm going to go in this door, I'm going to try to clear the point. Oh, there's a grenade. Let me wait. Oh, there's another grenade. Let me wait. Oh, there's C4. Hold on. Let me wait for it to go. There's another grenade. I don't like being like, I get the idea of like, okay, we're going to conk out these buy us like, 5 more seconds on point, so to speak, right? But I don't like preventing me from getting into the fight and the fight flow going back and forth. That's healthy for the game. I don't mind getting on point and capping the timer started and I get pushed off of it. And I have the ability to push back on. I like a little bit of fight flow. That's why things like overpop and force multipliers are really, really detrimental because you just push through the point, you destroy the center, the fight's over, it's been 30 seconds. This is for a veteran player, not even like a new player. We'll get to that at another time. And the meta would shift, right, around differently, I think, with maxes. But the more health you give something, and with a lot of people playing maxes or force multipliers very passively, very few people are aggressive in the game, which is fine with infantry because I can, I have a standing chance through skill. Like if you're shooting me in the back, I can turn around and maybe if I with a little bit of movement and really good accuracy, I go through the head. I might win a 1v3. I ain't gonna win a 1v3 against the max or 3 maxes. It's just which is fine because I understand it's a force multiplier, but the access to it is too readily available.
I got you. Okay, so but if they remove the revive, I think that would really do some damage against how available maxes are everywhere.
100%.
So then why would you need to nerf anything at all after that?
Wait, did I say you need to nerf anything? You said you wanted it buffed. I said nerf.
That's true. I did say that. You're right. You got me on that one.
I said, dude, you already have a lot of health.
Here's something that used to happen, right? I used to hacksaw. Hacksaw was one of my first Araxiums. Okay, I was a hacksaw max. I could get in close, do a lot of work. Love the hacksaw death. But then Decies and C4 became a lot more powerful, and I had to start using Maddox. And nowadays, I can't use a hacksaw and get anywhere close to anyone before I get C4'd, Deci to death. With flak, by the way. With flak. So I use a Maddox now in order to stay far away, and I'm not aggressive. I can't get in the fight. I can't influence. I just have to be like, oh wait, there's what? Blam blam blam. blam blam blam.
Yeah, okay, but tell me, if you use the max outside of like ambushers somehow getting across to you and like they get the lucky C4 off and you die, and then they die. But you if I drive a tank, and every time I pull a tank, this happens. If I drive a tank and I'm super aggressive with it, and I get into the infantry fight and the thick of it or in other tanks, I die almost instantly. Should I get more health? Like, is that just my fault because of skill? As a max player, especially since you're playing with shotguns, it's like, should you not maybe let and that's, if they don't want to be aggressive, they don't want to push. Maybe you're soloing because you guys haven't been having your squads, right? So you feel like you have to be the factor of pushing, but realistically, your infantry would push forward. Your light infantry, your heavy
saying
assault,
there are other
whatever.
factors at play, is what I'm hearing.
What?
Yeah, you're saying there are other factors at play.
You would want your light infantry to screen for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Then you would be behind that line, right? You would be the buffer there, or maybe you're gonna fill a gap or something in an area, right? But you're like acting like, oh, I'm by myself. Essentially, is what it sounded like, or
No, I'm with the squad. Like I'm trying to take one of the gens in the biolab, right? Running up the stairs, or in this case, running down the stairs and try and pull left, but some Joe Blow comes right through the gates with ambusher, and then bam, throw. That happens all the time, man.
Yeah, but
as soon as they see me,
when you say ambusher and C4, the amount I bet if you broke the data down, it's way less. Because it almost
probably
sounds
true.
Like
it just
like it's happening like on every max pool. But then it's like, okay, there's infantry around you. There should be infantry in front of you, by you, and maybe behind you, right? From what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it might be a skill issue. It might be me being a Vanguard main, not realizing how I should be playing a max, right?
Maybe. I mean, I always, if I'm in the force, I try to play aggressive in the force multiplier. One, I'm easier to kill, unless it's a situation where like I'm massively overpopped and like I need to play a little more conservative, like win the fight, right? But other times, yeah, I'm really aggressive with it, because I feel like that's better experience for other players too, because they can kill me, I get my kills, maybe I start to push, but I don't want to. I shouldn't be the spearhead of the push and kill everything and still be alive at the end of it. If you want to be alive longer, then you should be screened behind your players. And then if someone does ambush or jet you, because how much is C4?
It's I think it's 2 or 350.
75 for one, right?
Is it? I don't know. I don't ever use C4.
But my thing is, if they C4 you, the only way for them to kill you, if you're screening, for the most part, besides some random event of like a tank over here or like a A2G over here and you're low health, like it's really to get lucky with C4, so ambusher. But it still costs them resources pretty much to kill you. Now it might not be an equal trade.
Thank you for recognizing that.
But it's still costing them. It's not like I'm ambushing and then with my double deathy rocket launcher I'm able to one tap you, like what I mean, without any resource cost. Like it's still costing resources. It's still a drain. And the chance of that happening is not 100%. It's not, it's probably a very small amount of your deaths.
Nah, man. Every time I pull that max, it's like every ambusher jet in the map is trying to go for me.
Probably because you're playing way too far forward. That's just the risk that you're probably right. If you're going to be aggressive, then you're going to run that risk. That's an easy kill.
That's true. Maybe I'm an easy kill because I'm too aggressive in a max. I'll take that.
I don't think you should buff the damage or the health on it, especially if you take the revive away. And more than likely, if you're playing that aggressive, how often are you getting rezzed anyway?
Yeah, I am getting rezzed.
But how often though? Probably
not as often as I like. And NC medics, NC medics are optional.
You're not res grenadable, right? So like they have to like expose themselves, and then when you're that far forward, I haven't watched a lot of your max gameplay, but I don't know how far forward you are. But the issue is when you're on secondary gen at the SCU before you get to the SCU, on like skinny stairs. Let's say you're max on skinny stairs at the bottom. You're an overpop. I'm trying to defend the biolab, and there's a lot of fucking players there. And maybe I die maybe I attempt to kill you. The problem is my decimator, one shot, you back off, you get repped. And there's like 30 infantry in front of you at that point. Can you just back off, right? Or maybe it's like 7 or something infantry. So decimator, not going to happen unless we get lucky with the double tap. C4, unless you're in the doorway, I pretty much have to get to the doorway, I have to kill any infantry in front right there, like right away, that's visible through the doorway. And then I have to expose myself to top of skinny stairs. then I have to throw my C4, and then I also have to be able to detonate it, which is not fast.
The detonator is.
I've been using C4, and maybe I'm doing it wrong because I thought it was just one click throw, one click detonate, but it ain't fast enough. Let me tell you, my point being though is there's
that might be my accuracy. I don't know.
But it's probably because you're playing on 40 frames. You're like, dude, that was so fast. It's like, no, like actually it wasn't. It's just you're playing on such few. Actually, that's an interesting point. But even if I kill you right now with the C4, I sacrifice myself after like the 7th time I finally get you. Right now, you just get res. There is very few times there's going to be a stabilized push that can break through that against overpop. And that's how I like to look at the game is a max versus a max. Okay, fine. The skill is going to maybe, determine who wins that, right? And then it's like an infantry player versus one max. Like, yeah, skill still I might be able to avoid the max and kite it a little bit, right? Decimator, play the game of juking and diving, reload, decimate it, a couple light arms, I win, right? But the issue is also me versus 3 infantry players. I might win that. Then it's like me versus 5 infantry players. Not gonna probably win that unless I'm able to pick them off one by one and like slow it down. And it's like me versus 500 players and then a medic in the back with res grenades. I can clear all 5 of them or 8 players, and then they're gonna res them back up, and then I got to reload at some point, right? And then it's like 5 players, a medic in the back with res grenades, and then a max. Not like those are the factors like that the game and a lot of fights in this game, especially now or with the old spawn system, is there's just massive overpop. There's so many people being dumped on a fight that you're scaling everything up, and you're playing these small rooms. Like it just doesn't fit well with how the game works and how the game can scale so high in different things.
Right, I see what you're saying.
But I don't know. I think a simple fix is get rid of the revive and then reevaluate from there.
Yeah, get rid of the revive and then we'll see what happens.
I do think repairs should be slow.
You think the what?
I think the repairs should be a little bit slower.
I think the repair it feels good to me. It feels right.
You think so?
I think so.
The fact that you can even be repaired is interesting to me, but I'll take it. I mean, again, the revive is a big deal. It is a mech
suit.
I mean, but realistically, like obviously you go back to a shop or something, you won't be wearing it, and like, but you can't be realistic in a game because it breaks it anytime you try to do that. It becomes more annoying than anything. Like in Tarkov when they added the gun like glitch or whatever, or not glitch, jam. Fuck, why the fuck are you gonna have a random jam put into the game?
That's that realism, man. That's that realism.
That's my point. Realism usually becomes annoying more than anything, right? And it breaks the fun because you still have to have fun. Realism kind of edges towards taking away from fun a lot of the time. There's a balance, right? But anyway, I don't know, something to think about. I know we talked about a lot in regards to limiting, and I'm still trying to find a workaround for that. I've also talked about though, and this was on the last one, squad specific, where for every 12, if you have a squad of 12, you can pull 1 max in that squad. That's it. You have a platoon, you get 4 maxes. I don't care if you can rotate as much as you want, and it goes down and you get to have whatever. But you're limited to 1 max a squad. If you have 11, and maybe it's maybe it's something when you hit 7 out of 12, and then you can min max it. Though I don't like that, but you could find a balance. Maybe 10 out of 12. Then you get a max suit, right? And then, but still at 12 out of 12, you still only get 1 max suit.
What about unsquatted people?
What
about unsquatted people?
You have to hit a threshold. I don't know what the threshold is. Maybe it's 7 out of 12, maybe it's 10 out of 12. And then you hit 1 max. And then even at, 12 out of 12 is still 1 max. And the only way to get more maxes is then to have another squad with more players in it. And yeah, you can play the game of like, well, we're just going to put 10 people in Alpha and Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and we'll just, but you'd still, and even with that thinking, you would still limit it. I'm also okay with that. Squad at 12 out of 12, you would still only get 1 max, and you have to have 12 out of 12. Same thing with A2G. It's like, okay, at 12 out of 12, you get like 1 A2G, 1 tank crew, or you can pull 1 tank, 1 Vanguard, and you can pull a max or something. Maybe you have to choose between those. Maybe you get 1 force multiplier to choose from. And a lot of games are kind of like squad. When you spawn in at the start, when you're prepping everything, it's like, and you join a squad, it's like, okay, of that squad, there's like, I think everyone can be a rifleman, and you get like your kit. Mm-hmm. And then like there might be only one sniper, and as soon as someone takes that sniper, no one else gets it. And then like there might be like a 2 MG like a machine gun like team.
Okay, I got you.
So then not everyone's gonna be a sniper. Not everyone's gonna be a machine gunner. It's like you're gonna have your standard kind of core rifleman, which is realistic, I guess. The breakdown of how maybe the military does it. But again, you're not having force multipliers across the board. Like, because those are stronger things, and usually stronger things cost more money, or there's less availability of it. So I like that idea of like choosing and then having a limitation. But it's like you're the tank guy. Okay, fine. You get the tank every time in the squad. Once we hit our threshold, you get the tank, and we can kind of keep it up for a longer period of time. But we don't all get tanks whenever we want, if we wanted to. If that makes sense.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, because people are people. Like the other day, it'd be the first time that I had been able to pull a Colossus in a little bit, and we were playing ops. We had about 5 or 6 people. We needed to pull a Bastion to kill an Indar Bastion, and I maxed it out. Like, I'm ready to go, but another player was an infantry player, really wanted to pull him because he never pulled one. I'm like, all right, bro, fine, pull it. Lasted 7 minutes. There goes the Colossus.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Fair. It happens. You let them pull it. I mean, but my thing is like in an outfit and okay, pub platoon, yeah, you might run the risk of someone pulling the one max that you can pull for the squad, but like, okay, then like you can come out. It's no different than someone TK and you're like, okay, you're gone, bro. We're not gonna be around us, or like you're not following orders. You're 2,000 meters away, you're gone. It's just part of the game, and you just adapt around. Like you build your, it just, you know what I'm saying? Like that's because
what I'm saying is if you then implement a threshold thing or what you said, like a tank would pop every now and again, and then you could then use it.
Well, like once you hit your threshold, it's like you can either have it so you have one of a max HG and a tank that you'd have available essentially, or you'd have to pick one of those 3. Because this, my point being, when AOD logs in or Zergfit logs in, more than likely every single player, if you wanted to at the warp gate, you get 4 gals. And then everyone else could be in a max if they wanted to. There might be a couple players that didn't log in, from last night that have 0 nanites and they can't pull. So maybe those 4 players are your gal pilots. And then you have 44 other players that, if they wanted to, could all pull max for right then and there at the start. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. That's just like, what? Like it's more powerful for a reason, but if anyone can pull it at any time, especially on an opening, or at any given time, maybe your platoon can get 15 maxes up, and I know max crashes here, like that's part of the strat. My point is, there has to be some give and take here. There has to be some risk and reward. So yeah, it's not like I lost my tank, I'll pull 3 more lightnings, like you always say. I have the nanites for it. But then it rewards you when you kill that player in the other tank, right? Or you got that lucky shot on the A to G from your tank, right? And like, well, hey, bitch, you ain't gonna be coming back anytime soon, right? So in some regards, it rewards you as well, right? It rewards the skill. Like, and I talked about this too, like with the old Biolab instant spawn. You're aware, right? You're aware of that? What used to be, whoever had the base, whatever the connections, you'd have 3 instant spawns, and then the attackers would have the 1, right? The main spawn.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm attacking the base and I go from my spawn, from secondary gen side and I cross the double bridges and I go to Crescent.
Yeah.
There's that spawn down there. But I got to get there to get to the next points or whatever. And I kill Zyros. Let's say I get lucky. I kill Zyros and he was camping maybe my spawn or something, or fighting at my spawn. And I kill Zyros at Fat Stairs going up to secondary. By the time I get to bridges, he's already back.
Yeah.
But now I have to kill him before I can get the A point, right? For instance, let's say that's like the main route I have to go. Now I have to kill him again. And by the time I get to the base, or I'm about to pass his spawn, I my back is exposed to get to the A point. Like, then I have to kill him a 3rd time. And that's gonna be difficult for me to kill Zyros 3 times in a row to then get to the A point and fight whatever is on that point. It's these type of things.
I see the difficulty with that.
That makes it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah, but you also have to look at the other side of things. Is like, do people really want to fight against things that for the most part they don't have a chance against. Probably not. And I know there's the launcher changes and the air to ground is a little, or the ground to air is buffed, I guess. I haven't read too much about it. I don't even know how it's
the launcher
in the game. Yeah, I think they made it like way more powerful to back off air, if I'm not mistaken. There's a big
lock-on infantry launchers and a few others have received a noteworthy revision. Added infantry lock-on resist types, abilities that modify damage, also modify damage resistance, and they're getting away from flak functionality in order to do more lock-on and AoE damage, I guess.
Okay, that sounds too complicated, but all I know is it's a buff to ground air weapons. Or it was.
I don't think direct damage increases.
I don't know what the simplified version of is. If my lock-on's quicker either. And it does more damage, but anyway, it's a change.
Out of my realm. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised you really haven't sat down and thought about a change for force multipliers, maxes, air, and ground vehicles.
I have definitely done that for vehicles, for maxes.
From a balance perspective of how do you balance it so you can't just chain pull essentially to a certain degree.
It was basically the 3 resource system. To me, I thought had a good balance between limiting how much you could pull for any vehicle, whether air or ground.
We talked about that. It was I really do. Besides air, which I don't know how you correct that. I like the idea that if I kill you in a tank, or let's say you kill someone in a tank at a fight, they have to pull maybe from like the warp gate almost. I don't like the idea of like you can just pull from the front line your force multiplier and get it right back into the fight, so to speak. Like, okay, that's what okay. So it's like, yeah, you want to be in a tank all the time, fine, and you die, and maybe you do have to go all the way back to spawn, and like that's your punishment. You're still in a tank. Technically, I can still get my max. I don't know how the hell you get a max from the warp gate to the front line if you're far away, but you don't have any friends to transport you. But you have no friends.
Or Steel Rain.
But if you have no friend, you're a solo player.
That's true.
But that's the risk that you run as a solo player. Sorry, but I like the idea of limiting how quickly you can get things right back to the fight. So like it feels rewarding if I kill you. If I kill the max, you should be able to revive it because like, okay, at least I did this thing. Or if I kill Zyros, he can't just instantly spawn back and prevent me from getting to the A point, 3 times essentially. Because what's the chance that 2 good players are one of them is gonna kill the other one 3 times in a row, consistently, and then also have to fight someone on a point. Or I kill your tank, but then you pull another one from that base right there. Now, yeah, harasser. You want to do something maybe a little lighter at those bases, fine. But I just don't like the readily availability of. Not only can you pull it right away, it's already on the front line.
Yeah, I see why that doesn't give you really much of a reward.
The only reward of like I did this is like, okay, we got that taken, we got this thing removed. We have a good 15, 20, 30 second window of making our push now. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I like I like the idea of combating these things by when you eliminate them. They're off the table for it.
Well, you already see that now when fights like Esamir, there's only one tech plant.
Right, and we hit on that.
Yeah, and the only way I can get a main battle tank in is either warp gate or a anvil it in.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I think that's as long as I'm okay, and I like that. But it's only for the Vanguard, which tanks don't really bother me. For the most part, it's A to G and maxes.
Oh, it's A to G.
A to G and maxes are the 2 issues. Again, and I don't really. If I'm at an 80-20 fight and there's a max there, I don't care. I don't care that one of the 20 players that I'm fighting against with 80 has a max. Okay, great. Yeah, you need something to help you. It's the other way that it becomes the issue. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to prevent. I don't care about these things when they're needed. We talked about that last time.
Well, then why don't we just limit it per battle rank?
Everyone's battle rank 5,000 now, dude.
Right. So if you're a prestige, 1, then
you have to regrind it. Yeah, but I don't.
Or you have a timer, or it costs more nanites. And that's kind of goes back to what you're talking about, the nanite equipment revamp. But if you scaled it to like battle rank, yeah, you might have some people who cheese by constantly creating new characters. But I mean, how much are they going to do that just to be able to play a max more?
I don't know. There's been some weird things going on when the whole there are not too many, unfortunately, and unfortunately for good players, you don't need a lot of them doing something to drastically shift something on the other side. And we've seen it when good players will do a platoon and they'll just spam maxes and engineers and medics, and they'll just wreck through faces. Just thank God for the longest time possible that so many really, really, really good players didn't abuse a majority of the things in the game, and they had a little bit of like, hey, this isn't the best for people of less skill.
Gotcha.
That was like surprising, and then it's like and we got lucky there, I ain't gonna lie, but something to think about. I think the good start though, take away the revive on the max. That's got to be
all right. Fine, well, we can agree on that. Take away the revive on the max. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and then maybe look at AGG, maybe make it more expensive. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how you fix the air problem. Again, tanks don't really bother me. Majority of the time.
Is it the nose can or is it the rockets on the AG?
If you're good, it doesn't matter. I think the nose gun is a quicker death.
Oh,
if you're good. And again, these things where you see them in overpop. I'm already have no spawn. You've already EMP'd my beacon. You've already killed the thunder that we brought up. You've already surrounded where I'm at. And then there's also air. I gotta kill fucking 10 dudes in front of me, infantry, with the 11th one is a max, and I got A to G above me. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, and then it's like the Bastion. It's like, I mean, how many things do you want to add to the game where you're gonna push that playstyle out, and you're gonna dumb down the game even? Anyway, we can move on to. I really wanted to also talk about the new player experience.
New player experience. All right, let's hit it. I think it's gotten better.
Why is that?
Well, I am killing more new players nowadays. And when I kill them, I normally message them now and be like, hey, how long have you been playing? And like the other dude the other day was like, 15 minutes. All right. I said, all right, so here's generally what you want to do. You want to squad up, you want to blah, 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 and all that. And he's like, yeah, I haven't played since like 2014. I tried it out again, and I really like how it looks now. But the tutorial to me is way better than what it used to be.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And when you're talking about new player experience, how fast can you get them in a squad? How fast can you get them moving toward a fight so that they're not constantly in respawn mode? Respawn. Oh, I went through the wrong door. I just got AP'd by Lanzer. Oh, I went through the other door, got anchored by Aeflic.
That's not even some of the big issues that I have to deal with, because you're at least experiencing the game that you probably watched a trailer on.
What are you dealing with?
I mean, 1v1v1. Especially if you're outside of prime time. Maybe you're on Emerald and you play between 10 a.m. and noon. Top, very small amount of fights. Maybe you don't know how to read the map yet. You load into the game. You're at the warp gate. Not a lot of people at the warp gate. Not a bunch of galaxies landing and all these people running and pulling from things. Kind of a ghost town. Maybe the VS and TR are fighting and you're on NC and you're like, there's not even a fight to go to. There's not even anywhere for me to go. There's nothing for me to do in the game. I used to stream for hours in the mornings because that's when I was working from home, and before Liam was in half-day daycare. And sometimes I would go an hour or two without a fight. I had like 20 kills or something. Like I'd drop like on a tower at the VSTR fight. New player is not going to do that. So one of the issues with the 1v1v1 is outside of primetime, and even during primetime, you can be on a faction that will not have a fight. And you're just spawned into the game and you can't even play the game essentially.
Connor is like that sometimes.
Dude, if you can't play what's advertised, oh my gosh, look at all these vehicles, look at all these, oh my combined arms, oh there's 100 players here, and you spawn in, there's nothing to do, and you're like, wait, what? That's weird. So we talked about 1v1v1 extensively on the other one. But that's an issue because it does happen. It happens way more outside of your prime time as well, which a lot of people are going to be dabbling in. Maybe a new player, you know what I'm saying? So that's a big concern.
The only thing I can think that they can do to fix that is put in like bots. I don't know what else they could do.
No, to sum it up, you'd have to go to 1v1. You'd have to to make new player.
Oh yeah, well, you and I agreed on that one. I think we're good to go.
That was just another point though of how many times you can just not have a fight.
Okay.
Another issue when I first started playing the game. Luckily, the pop is beta, so there's people everywhere. But I would be at a base, and I think you get instant actioned in, or you did, and you'd be at the base, and maybe the fight had just ended. And then like everyone's kind of like doing this, like I don't know what to do after that. Like everyone's leaving, people are just redeploying, right? They're just disappearing, and then people are alone in their galaxies, or and then they're all going. I'm like, but where are you guys going? I feel like I'm not in the know. Like I'm watching a movie almost, but it's like, okay, where you guys? That's how I felt. Like, where's everyone go? I don't have squad comms, right? I'm just by myself. There's no prox chat's a joke or not. Most people have it muted. And it's like everyone's gone. Where'd they all go? Like I don't even know. And it's like, what? Don't leave me behind. I want to play the game. Where you guys go? And that's the feeling I had for a long time in the game. And I got lucky.
What can you do?
That one's tough. That one's very tough.
I suppose I don't know how this might work, but if you're under like battle rank 20, then whenever a fight drops from 24s or 48s or 96s. Oh no. After the base is taken, then it instant actions them again.
No, that's too confusing. You're breaking them from the immersion, and two, you're forcing them.
Right, but you just said the alternative is they don't even know where to go. So what are they doing? They're quitting.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it goes back to 1v1. I mean, I think you have more of established front lines. A little bit more predictability because of the front lines and where the next fight is going to be. I mean, I guess I'm beating a dead horse here, but I am addressing some concerns because I was thinking about when I was a new player, what do you do?
You have to somehow know to get to the next base.
Right.
That's what it is. How do you know?
When you go to the map screen after a fight ends? And when you go to the map screen after your fight that you were at ends?
Yeah.
And nothing else is going on yet, and there's this like build up of like a couple minutes, or maybe 5 or 7 minutes, and for the pop to move somewhere else, that's a long time of not knowing what the fuck is going on. And again, yeah, you have to play the game or get lucky you're in a platoon or something, a pub platoon or whatever. I'm not sure how you fix it, but I know it's an issue.
The only thing, you can do a UI fix. So instead of forcing them to do something, you'd have to like put up like a neon sign around, hit you to redeploy, or you'd have to make it much more obvious what they need to do, what button they need to press to go next.
I feel like the tutorial kind of maybe goes over that, like hit you or whatever the
tutorial does. I'm talking about like
re-jog your memory, yeah.
Until you're a battle rank whatever. I don't know. That can be really annoying for alts, but
most people can figure out a game. So okay, hit the map key, and like you can kind of walk yourself. Now the problem is, this is the other thing, is we don't have any data. Now we're not devs, so I get it, but we don't have any data. I don't know if the majority of new players are quitting in 15 minutes or in 3 days. So that's a very different way of how you would approach the new player experience. If it's 3 days.
Rel revealed that in a podcast with it was either Shock Tor or Deeg. He said that. What's that?
I said maybe I'm maybe you're triggering my memory here, but what did he say?
All right, I'm pretty sure. I'm pulling up now, but I'm pretty sure he said that they normally keep 2 new players for about 2 weeks, and then they drop off.
That's a long time. That's insane. You're not losing people from one bad fight, which is great.
Wait, 2 weeks? Hold on.
Dude, 2 weeks is that's crazy. That's enough time you can get lucky and get into a platoon or an outfit or.
I'm might be misremembering. So I
is
have
the
2
Lodestar in the game? Is the Lodestar in the game?
Yeah.
Is it just the same Galaxy model, or is it a different model?
Same model.
And what's the functionality and the use of it?
AMS.
Oh, it's a spawn. Oh, I thought it was a vehicle pickup and drop off.
That'd be cool though.
That's what I would do. Because one of the biggest issues, and whatever, we can skip over the data on the new period. How quickly they quit or whatever. I mean, we can come back to it too. But dude, the Lodestar would be a great way to transport. I mean, to get vehicle players slightly more involved. And you get to keep your tank, you don't have to redeploy and then like waste all your nanites. It's like, okay, you kept your tank up, you did a good job, we'll pick you up and we'll move you over to the next fight. Because air is fast in the game. Even a Galaxy's fast to get you to the next fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is the fastest.
I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm trying to find 2 weeks. No.
I don't know why I haven't done that.
I might be just misremembering, but I wrote it down. Thought it was pretty cool because he just revealed like after 3rd week, he was talking about the bumps from patches, and then he talked about what the normal pattern is for new players.
Okay. I was gonna say, is that vets coming back and trying it out, or is it actual new players? You kind of answered that when you said new players.
I don't remember. Don't remember. 8 years. No. Oh, I don't know. I don't see it. What else? What else you got? What do you want to hit me with?
Oh, dude, I was just thinking of random things like you could. I mean, this would be bad, but you could even lose things like things that you buy like C4. This would be. I think it's too broken, but essentially, if I buy C4, you have to change all the values. But if I bought C4 on my heavy assault, and I bought 4 medikits and I died, I would essentially lose whatever I bought on my death. I guess you could get it back if you got lucky and got revived. But it is an interesting way on.
You would lose what you used.
Yeah, but then it's like how do you that would just hurt infantry so much and like not do anything for vehicles or force multipliers. So I think I was like, nah, this is probably a bad idea. I also thought about with the Sunder, like you have but then dude, see, this is where the game gets weird, because then it's like you would be buffing defense again, because I'm like, maybe you only get a limited amount of resources in a Sunderer. You know, if I pull a max, that's 450, and the Sunderer, let's say, just has 1,000. That seems really low, right? But whatever, maybe it's 1,000, so now it's down to what, 550. I pull 2 medikit, you know, maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 5,000, whatever. And then you'd have to like take the Sunderer. You could have unlimited spawns on it, but when it comes to things that you could buy, you'd have a limit on it, or you just scale it up to just maxes, or maybe no maxes. But again, and then you'd have to drive it back to your fob or your warp gate, which would be probably too far. Instead of the idea of like mining Cortium and using that, you do a little more resource transfer.
From
with base,
what to what?
But because this was like PlanetSide 1 type of shit, and I don't know, I would never do this, but people have always talked about like we people mine, right? People mine Cortium. There's a lot more people than I thought it would be. But essentially, like for instance, like at a base that you're defending, like you have resources that you have maybe it starts with 1,000 out of like 10,000. I'm using just really random numbers, but it doesn't automatically get filled up. So like let's say nothing's happening there, you've capped it. It gets 1,000 out of 10,000, and then you're fighting somewhere else for like 3 hours, and then you finally come back to that base, still 1,000 out of 10,000, and it's like you pull 1 max, and now you're down to 550, and you need to have Sunderers with resources from the warp gate or from wherever that are bringing resources to the base if you want to pull more force multipliers there. You got to like essentially fund more resources to pull things from, if that makes sense.
You would turn the Cortium into like the new nanites.
I don't think I would. First of all, I think mining is just a waste of time. I think you'd have. I would rather it be like, and you can even have it automated.
I like it. It's fun.
I mean, you could do that, but I think it would be a little more simplified if you just did like a convoy system of you have to transport it, like a logistics system. You need to get resources to the front line.
If you turned Cortium into nanites, that I mine and then I stock up a base with, and that became the nanites that people use to pull stuff like vehicles or whatever. I don't even know, man.
Because that gives tanks some purpose. It gives air some purpose. You can disrupt the logistics line. You can take.
Sorry.
But it gives air and tanks and other thing purpose. Actual meaningful disruption.
You would cause me to have to defend the logistics more.
Or attack them. Not just fight infantry.
Or attack them. Hey. There you go. That's interesting. That might be onto something.
You could even have a little bit of AI, like it's kind of automated a little bit, and then if you want more, you could have your own. Because I'm like, how many players? But then I mean, look at construction. I was surprised about how many people did it, but it's like, okay, you could have a little. And I think you keep the cap low, so you can't just cap a base and have some people bring up a fuck ton of resources and say, okay, now we got
what you would start doing. Yes, that would.
But you'd keep the cap low enough to where you couldn't just stockpile so many resources that when the next time you came back, you could pull 100 maxes. It's like it caps out at, let's just say 2,000 or whatever.
No, what
like,
you would do is you'd introduce the decay. You keep decay going.
Yeah.
So now, according to decay,
a cap timer on it. It's not unlimited, and it's not so high that you see what I'm saying. Like I'm okay with no decay as well, or a little bit of decay. That's fine. But I like the idea that you're even at max pool, you can only pull X amount from a base. If you want to pull it, go to the warp gate because the warp gate has unlimited. You know what I'm saying? Like you can always pull a tank from the warp gate or a max. They did warp
that.
Gate.
They did do that with Outfit Wars 2 years ago.
Really interesting.
Yeah, when they had the Cortium and in a player's base or in the bases, and you use that as your everything. You use it as your spawns.
That's true. Yep.
It's not a bad
idea. You
have
to have some caps on it so that you can't just dump a buttload of something that like when there's no fight going on, you can't just let's just jack it up to 100,000 resources here. We can pull for forever. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, but you wouldn't do 100,000. You do it at 10,000. You make it a normal silo.
Yeah, and like triple point bases, they're gonna have a larger pool, right? They're gonna have a little bit, small one single point base, pay a little bit less. And I don't know. It's an interesting, a little late probably, but I mean we've been doing crazy changes since forever. So I mean,
I like that idea. That's a unique one.
Because I've never thought of an idea that actually gives tanks purpose, besides murdering spawns. Then the fight's over. Yeah, I don't know.
Work. Let me look at the silo because I don't remember. Cortium silo. I think it's interesting how fast I lose my memory when I'm not doing this every single day.
Don't even get me started.
I really like that idea. It's a good one. 50,000 Cortium. Silos can hold up to 50,000 Cortium, and that takes a while, by the way. Even if you have multiple people.
It'd be easy to adjust that number, though. It'd be easy to adjust that number as well. And you could do. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to change things, but I mean, you already have the ant in the game. You could just turn that into the transporter essentially. I don't think you mine it though, because then I think you create it too complicated. I think you keep it simple.
No. It doesn't take it too complicated because you already have Cortium miners doing that. But instead of contributing to faction, they then they wander around trying to find bases, and it's just kind of like haphazard. The mechanism is easy. Get an ant.
I like the idea of a supply line though, of like unless you're gonna be mining it from the warp gate, but then it seems very redundant. Like I like the idea of like natural.
It's redundant to a player like you, but to a player like me who loves logistics.
I don't want to add too much complexity. Where it's like we have to mine it and then we have to transport it to the facility.
It's not that difficult, especially when I have a turbo.
I agree, but you need a constant supply run. I want to. And my thing is, you can expand upon, but you got to keep things simple. so that they actually happen. About
All right. Well, I like the idea. That's a good. That's a really unique one. What do we call
I mean, because if you disrupt the resources, it's going to be less force multipliers on the other side.
What do we call that idea? Is that one
logistics? Literally just logistics. Logistics system. Convoy system.
This is not okay.
And if it was really something that you would think that nobody would do, then you would just, I mean, everyone's talked about bots, but you would just make it automated. It's like, okay, convoy coming from NC Warp Gate, like you get like, your team would get a notification like AI convoy, transporting whatever to, so whatever base it is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do we want to intercept it? Or you can make it player driven, which I'm fine with. I just don't. I mean, again, players surprise me when it comes to boring things like that. But
that one, I think that one has real potential to it right there.
Because then you can, through skill and thinking and doing, you could prevent some of the things that I don't like heavy spam of stuff. But at the same time, by incorporating resources into a base, you limit how much can get pulled from that base at any given time, especially if it's capped out. It's like at the max, this is what we can pull. If we wanted to pull, 15 maxes, that's the max. Or we could do 5 maxes, 200, or something like that. But you can always pull from the warp gate because it has unlimited resources. That might be a fix all the way around. Now, A2G, you can still pull pretty quick from the warp gate, which is an issue, but I mean, you're still addressing a lot of things up front, I guess.
I back it.
I don't know.
Cool, man.
Did a break.
Yeah.
I didn't even write that one down; it just popped up.
Yeah, well, I wrote it down right there. Cortium restocking of bases. Bam. Cool, man. I think I'm all thought out on this one.
I'm good.
This one felt really productive. Like we came up with stuff.
I agree. I'm happy with it. Because again, I mean, dude, at the end of the day, I think the game's in a decent spot. It's just how do you attract new players and how do you keep them? I mean, it just, some of the stuff is too drastic to ever obviously happen like a 1v1 and on live, because you're going to get rid of a whole faction. I mean, there's money and time, people have resources. I mean, guns and skins and helmets, so you can't do it. But man, that'd be interesting. But
you gonna come back and play the game more? Or are you still on a break?
I think if I dip my toes in it once or twice, I think I'll come back to it. It's just been difficult because I think there's a lot of burnout in gobs.
Oh.
But then I think they had 23 players on for Wednesday night ops. It's just Frog pushed it to 8 or bumped it to 8:30 from 9. Now that we're doing this, we've transitioned Liam to a toddler bed, and he goes down at 8 or 8:30. A lot of times 8:30. I have a chair in front of his door. He can get in and out of his bed and just, what I mean? So it's like I wait for him to actually fall asleep, but that could be 9:30, 9:15. So then by the time I talk to Zoe, and it's like by the time I get downstairs, if ops are an hour and 20 minutes, it's already over or almost over. So, I do want to get back into it. Yeah, I think so. I've been having, like I said, I've been having a little bit of fun with Wargame and some old friends, and then I have people that want to play Call of Duty. So I'm like, oh, dude, I'm stretched thin with gaming time. So, and then I've just been tired. So that's another issue.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think I do one ops a night or a week. I think it's Wednesday and Saturday. Maybe I can do 2. Maybe it's 1. I'd like to at least do 1 a week. Is my goal.
Well, you're still up in anchor kills by a healthy amount, so they gotta hustle if they want to catch you.
The issue is though, I don't use the normal anchor. I'm using the gold anchor. Mm-hmm. There's no way for me, unless I got 221,000 on the gold anchor, for me to ever increase my peak amount of kills. So it's stuck at 221. I don't see myself getting 221 on the gold, unless the game's here for another 10 years. But I do have a healthy lead.
Maybe we'll be.
I might. Maybe with the logistics transport system.
All right, man.
All right, bro.
It's good it was good talking to you, man. You've got that subject matter expertise there at that level that I just haven't been in all that much.
I mean, I think you have it. your perspective is a little different, given you're a tank player, because you're the most disconnected from the game out of any group of play styles. Construction probably number one. Actually,
I was about to say construction. When I switch over to construction, I'm kind of off in my own little island. No one even knows I'm there unless I try to announce myself.
I feel like tanks are very close in regards to the disconnection from the game, but
I try to be as connected as possible.
It's just hard though, because I mean, well, we've talked about, but I think you have a good. You've grown on me from the first time that we spoke until obviously where we are now.
Really?
And I think you've had really good community. Because your general, and again, I don't. Careful, bro. I'll go down a rabbit hole here. If you're trying to go or hang up,
do it.
You think of your general? I think of 666 Devil Dogs as you know, you guys have been here, PlanetSide 1, but I would generally label you as a Zerg fit of some caliber towards the organized, like a good Zerg fit, maybe.
Okay.
I don't play Counter, so I haven't really seen you guys. I don't know how you've changed from, you know, the couple of YouTube videos I've seen from PlanetSide 1, right? I don't know what stage you guys are in now. When you guys used to fight TE from like way back when, there's old videos of, you know, the Devil Dogs armor coming down that on Indar, and they're all on the hills shooting the rockets down. I don't know where you guys are at now, but I would consider you guys like a good Zerg fit from what I hear from you.
Okay.
So the one you reached out, you're like, hey, blah blah. I'm like, okay, Devil Dogs. So I have an instant picture of, okay, Zerg fit guy. The general mentality of Zerg fit is a certain way, right? Then I talked to you. I was like, oh, he's not really like that at all. And you're very open to discussion, very open to new things, varying opinions, and you've talked to pretty much all sides of the community. Like Pale Tiger, like, I mean, like an interview with Pale Tiger, like that's, you know what I'm saying? You have Lex and then Pale Tiger. You see, like, it's a very wide range. And at 10 years in the game, I think it's very difficult to get a new perspective on things for a lot of players. And I think, like, you and Cammy were going on about Zealous and like, oh, he's like talking about how to, like, you know, shoot heads and like not using his gameplay, yada yada. Like, yeah, it's been done before. Been done, you know, 9 years ago by somebody else, and now, you know, and then somebody else has done it, you know, since then. So a lot of people have done it, but I don't. Like, this feels like a little fresher, a lot fresher in regards to things that I haven't really talked about or thought about, or people that you are interviewing that I haven't really seen before, or a different side of the community. That is less professional. Like, I feel like a RoboCop from Goater or something is very, like, if you were to interview him as like a SKL, maybe, I don't know how your interview went, but a little more professional Zerg fit side. But then they give a Pale Tiger, it's like a little controversial. I don't know. I don't know. I've just been, I've enjoyed your community management idea. Just a very wide range, which I don't think
thanks,
has been
man. I appreciate
covered a lot. And after 10 years, it's just refreshing to have that.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback. Thanks. I wasn't sure. You know, sometimes I don't hear much feedback on some of these at all. So, but you know, I still like it.
Trying to get engagement from your community is very difficult. I mean,
yeah,
Twitch chat's easy, but I had people that would watch the stream probably for months or years, and they've never said anything, and it's just, you can't force people to comment on something. So
yeah,
it is what it is. But yeah, anyway, yeah, man.
Right on, man. Give Zoe my best.
I will. She has no idea who you are. She's like, oh, you're gonna go chat with your gaming friends, and don't want to talk about how my because we were talking about something else before, and I couldn't get to her big presentation she had to give at work, so I felt
that's all right. I mean, do the same thing myself. But like, oh, I'm gonna talk to the coolest, the best killer in the game. She's like, oh yeah, is that he's the best killer in the game of fake video games? Like, it's a little bit cooler than that, okay?
That's how I feel, but there's no winning. There's no convincing. I've tried for a long time. It's just, we found some not common ground. It's just like we're at a Mexican standoff. I can even say that in 2022. No one's pulling the trigger. We're just having an understanding.
Live and let live and just kind of let it go.
Yeah, I just know that at this point, like I'm safe. Like nothing bad can really happen. You can just yell at me. I got a 3-year-old. You know, you're not. No, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'll let
out.
you know.
All right, man. Hey,
enjoy.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you big time.
Right back at you.
See you, King.
Ada.